Cameo came through, Doc. Larry Blackman didn't come through. Nathan Lieutenant didn't come through. All they sent us was the horn section. But the girls took them flats off the wall and looked at the flats. That's him right there. That's him right there. Shit, I was God after that. He brought Cameo to the hood. Oh, man. Cameo loved it. We loved it. I loved it. And that was the first night Eve was packed to the rafters, and I made a shitload of money. And I didn't have to cut it. And I still got Friday and Saturday to get paid again. That started the trend for me that was ridiculous. People understand this. Uncle Jam's Army did a lot of big dances. But at the Eve, 1979 to about 1984, except for slow nights, we had a few slow nights, I would knock down $4 to $5 grand a weekend. 4 times a week, 4 times a month. I went for
79, 80s, ladies and gentlemen, not 2025.
I went from making minimum wage, my paycheck every week at Record Shack was $168 to $4, $5 grand a week. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know how to act, and you wouldn't either. You wouldn't know how to act either. Oh man, I would have been. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. No, you didn't. No, you wouldn't. You'd acted a fool just like I did. To somebody.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yep. God didn't make me famous at an early age for a reason, man. He was like, nah, you would not be able to handle it.
What? Look, man. I wasn't always this calm and collective. I was a bigger fool than it. I was just the biggest fool, bigger. I wasn't irresponsibly stupid, but I did stupid shit like everybody else did. I just had 2 cats yanking my chain on both sides. Jeffy and my daddy was yanking my chain at the same time. Yanking my chain at the same time. All right, goddammit, get out of line. You won't have no club. Okay, boss. You stepped your ass right back in line. And my old man, he never did play. I don't give a damn how much money you got. You still my son. If I say don't do something, I don't care how old you get, how old you get, how much money you got. You still my son. Whatever I say, go. You're right, Pops. And that's what kept me out of trouble. And I still found a way to get in trouble from time to time.
All right, let's talk about N.W.A. and their start at Eve. And we've talked about it in the past, but you know what? We have so many new listeners and people tuning in. They don't catch all the videos. And I'm going to stop saying that, but because it's going to be a reoccurring thing. You know, N.W.A. was a big part of Alonzo's life. But we talked about it before, but talk about Eazy E's first time coming up to the Eve.
Eazy came to the Eve with Dre. Dre's people lived on my street. And that's how far back we go. His uncles and his aunts lived about 3 or 4 houses down. Dre, I don't know if he didn't live with his dad. His mom lived around, we would call him on the weak side, and his dad lived on my street. His dad and my older sister was friends. His dad cut lines with my dad. So my dad was like the neighborhood dad. If wasn't nobody around the pad to kick it with, if you want to make some money, come on, go to work with Mr. Williams. Cutting lines. That's what he did when he wasn't on the freeway. He cut lines. And back then he wasn't on the freeway. He wasn't on the freeway when I was 8 years old. No, he hadn't started doing that yet. And I remember, I tell people this sometimes. How you remember some shit like this? But Theodore, Dre's dad, came to my house and told my mom, I just had a baby. My mama said something I'll never forget. She said, babies having babies. Because Dre's mama was like 14 and 15 when she had him. Look at it. Look it up. She thinks Verna was like 14 to 15 when she had Dre. Okay. And she said this in one of his documentaries. I am not speaking out of turn. And I think Theodore might not have been much older, but my mama said babies having babies. And then I overheard him say, my mom said, what's the name? And I heard her say, he said, Andre. Now, It's about 1965. I'm 8, 9 years old. I'm ear hustling like a son of a gun. I have never heard a name like that before in my life. I'm used to Alberts and Erics and Bobs and Peters and Marcuses and whatever. I ain't never heard of Andre before. Fast forward, 16 years later, he comes to the club with Eazy E. And I didn't know who he was. I had no idea who he was whatsoever. And he started dropping names. You know, my people, Lloyd and Floyd and Deborah. Oh, yeah. I was trying to get at his auntie. Shit. Thanks. Anyway, never did. Her brothers wasn't that happy. But yeah, I know you're talking about, yeah. And Eric was with him. I say, man, you know, because Eve After Dark was from a different era. Eve, remember what I'm saying? Eve After Dark was from a different era. You did not wear tennis shoes no place. You had to wear hard sole shoes everywhere, to school, to church, to clubs. And that was the dress code of the streets, hard sole shoes. Hey man, change your clothes and come to the club. And because I know your people. And now here again, Dre was little, he wasn't maybe 16 or 17, but technically I could have let him in at the Eve at 16. But I made the age limit Eve 18 because I wanted to be more like Soul Train as opposed to Romper Room. That was my whole motivation. Soul Train was the big shit in the 70s. I'm thinking I'm a black ass Don Cornelius without the cameras. So I wanted a certain look. And that's how I maintained the look of Eve After Dark by making people by having a dress code. Well, Dre go back and change clothes. Eazy come back. He ain't changed shit but the date on this calendar. So Eazy talking a little shit. And it's in my, I said this in my book. It's in my documentary. Eazy talking a little shit. So to let him know who the boss was, I let Dre in. Eazy had to stand outside. He left. And a couple weeks later, he came back dressed correctly. But that's how we met.
Now let's talk about Dre. How did how did Dre come to be a big part of Eve After Dark? So much so that he included you in the Super Bowl a few years back.
Eve After Dark was a monster, dude. It was a straight monster. When the Eve was open, everything got shut down around it. It's a gas station right next to the Eve. At 9 o'clock on a Friday night, when I had the 99-cent jam, you couldn't buy gas till I had my guards make a U-turn because the line would pass the gas station. Either you had to put a break in the line for the driveway, or you had to make the kids make a U-turn back around and come back up to Eve again. But that was a problem because niggas would jump the line. So we just started making them go around the gas station and then cut in between the driveway. Those who drove over there, you couldn't buy no gas at the other gas station. It closed a little early. Gas station on the corner was a 24-hour station. One across the street closed about 10 o'clock.